You're listening to another episode of the Just Go Bike podcast, powered by RAGBRAI. This is the award-winning podcast where we are all about the culture of cycling, just for the fun of it. Your hosts are Murph from the Murphology podcast and AP from Parrot Talk. With tales from all over the nation, come for the bikes, stay for the fun, and leave with a smile. And now here is Murph.
Hey, that's me.
And AP.
Hey, that's me.
Hello, AP.
Hi, Murph.
Another day, another podcast episode for our fans and listeners. Are you ready?
Yes, I am ready, and I want to give an update from our last episode. I have been training my buns off, so this one's for you, Coach Ertl. I'm getting ready for RAGBRAI.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I like to hear this.
Yeah.
Because, you and I get to pedal across the state coming up pretty darn quick.
That's right. Yeah, we do our RAGBRAI 50 days earlier than everyone else. So we got to get ready. But with modern indoor trainers, it does make it a little bit easier than it used to be. So we get the miles done. But let's forget about training. That was last week. This week, I want to talk about Dubuque.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Should we do some fun facts about Dubuque?
Yeah. And you know what? As it is Iowa's oldest city, so it does have a lot of fun facts.
The biggest fun fact is it's where we will be dipping our tires in the mighty Mississippi on RAGBRAI.
That is the most fun fact of all. And I have seen the tire dip location, and it's a beaut.
Yay! Okay.
Yeah.
So what were you going to say about Dubuque?
Dubuque has a lot of fun facts because they are Iowa's oldest city. And
Ooh.
the city itself was founded in 1788, but the settlement, Dubuque, was around for way longer than that because it was a Native American settlement. So people have been living in this area of Iowa for centuries.
Wow. That's amazing. And the fact that it's the oldest city, which I guess would make sense because it's right on a major river.
That's right. It's located on the Mississippi River bluffs, and it's also located above a major, I don't know what you would call it, vein of lead, so that there was a lot of lead mining. And then it was easy to distribute that lead around the country because it was right on the Mississippi. So it had the commerce, it had the transportation connection. It just had it all.
Okay, so that's funny that you would bring up lead because that's my fun fact, which is the historic 1856 shot tower was built, of course, in 1856. The Dubuque Shot Tower is one of the few remaining towers in the U.S. used to produce ammunition by dropping molten lead.
Wow.
I wonder if any videos exist. Wait, did they have videos in 1856?
We'll have to do some research on that one. But I would love to see that.
Me too.
Yeah,
Me too.
That sounds so cool. Of course, Dubuque is also known for its extensive hilly 19th century architecture, making it a major, very scenic tourist destination, especially for those history buffs like you and me.
And it's also known as the Key City, which I think is interesting. It's basically, like you mentioned, its historic role as a transportation hub because of the mighty Mississippi. So it sounds like we're starting with the Les Hills, and then we're ending with the Mississippi River bluffs.
Yeah. So it's going to be a hilly one, but it's going to be so pretty. You might not even notice the hills.
Okay,
So,
perfect. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the reason we're even talking about Dubuque is because this week we're focused on another community bike shop. This one is the Dubuque Bike Coop.
Co-op.
Yeah, I knew that you would correct me. You're going to find out it's actually a coop. And
No way.
And Rob Williams, he is the guy from the Dubuque Bike Coop. He's going to tell us why they don't call it co-op.
Oh my God.
Yeah, you're going to have to listen today.
I learned something already. And I'm so glad you said this because, I wouldn't want to say co-op in public when it's really coop. Oh, wait, this is public.
Yeah. And I did say co-op at the beginning of this interview. When you'll hear it, I'm like, is it co-op or coop? And he goes, it's actually coop.
That's so cool. Well, I stand corrected, and I'm excited to hear all about them. There's a lot of cycling in the city of Dubuque for them to support. They have a 43-mile bike hike trail system, which is pretty darn good.
Yeah. And a lot of like on-street routes, where it's shared, but also 25 miles of paved trails for walking, hiking, biking, all of that good stuff. I know there's also some off-road networks.
Oh, cool. So you can make use of those big hills for you call it mountain biking. It's not really a mountain, but, off-road cycling. That's cool.
So the Dubuque Bike Coop is a community nonprofit. So we're in our series of the different nonprofits that we're trying to support with the community bike shop, RAGBRAI Gives.
Yep.
And this one was founded in 2012.
Oh, cool. Yeah. So they've been around for a little while, and they're nicely established. And I can't wait to hear about all the cool things that they're doing for the community of Dubuque.
Yeah. So here is Rob Williams to talk a little bit about his community bike shop. A nice welcome to Rob Williams. Hey, Rob.
How's it going?
Good. Good to have you on the podcast and continue our series of talking to some of the community bike shops that we are featuring in RAGBRAI Gives.
Yeah, it's great to be here. It's an honor to be a part of all this thing with the community bike co-ops.
Yeah, we love it. So you are part of Dubuque Bike Co-op, and I believe everyone knows a little bit about Dubuque, but tell us what you want to tell us about Dubuque.
Well, Dubuque, I'm not a native Dubuquer. I moved there in 2012 from Cedar Falls. And I grew up in Iowa, but I never in my wildest imagination thought I would end up in Dubuque, Iowa. That said, Dubuque is it's an absolutely beautiful city. Obviously, a lot of history. I have absolutely fallen in love with the driftless area, and that driftless area just makes it a great place to bike.
Sure, and
a challenging place to bike. I should add.
Yeah, and we'll all get to test this theory out when we come in July because we end in Dubuque this year.
And yeah, looking forward to that too.
Yeah. So you've been in Dubuque for, I think you said about a dozen years. How would you describe the bike culture?
The bike culture is kind of a thing of it. I always feel it's constantly growing. But there's still a lot to, in my opinion, there's still a lot to go. I think we have some very passionate, very hardy bike riders in Dubuque. But to encourage people to try biking is still somewhat of a challenge, mainly because of the bluff. And volunteering at the Bike Coop, that is a conversation we have all the time, is, trying to get people over the fear of riding up that hill. And I have an anecdote for that, which I always tell people, first of all, there's no shame in getting off your bike and walking up the hill.
Oh, true. Yep.
But each time you try it, you're going to make it a little further. And when you finally reach to the top of that hill, under pedal power, you're going to feel pretty damn good about yourself. And then you can pay it forward. Then you can encourage others to hey, if you keep going, keep at it, eventually you're going to make it.
Yeah. And that can be said about any hill. You know what I mean? Like when you first see a hill, you're like, oh my gosh, I'm going to try and figure out a way around this. I don't want to do it. But then once you conquer it, you're right. It's that feeling of, I did it.
Absolutely.
So you are one of the founders of the Dubuque Bike Co-op. Or is it co-op or is it Coop?
It's actually Coop. And there's a story behind that.
Yeah, let's hear it.
So I have a history with a couple of other bike cooperatives in Iowa, which I can get into later. But I had learned working with these other cooperatives that in the state of Iowa, you cannot be a co-op or cooperative, or you can't have that in your name unless you're directly tied to agriculture or energy.
Oh.
And evidently bicycling doesn't count as energy. So we were when we were getting organized back in 2012 in Dubuque, we talked about that. We were trying to come up with a name, and one of our other founders, Dave Hardig, kind of half jokingly said, well, why don't we just take the hyphen out and be a Coop? And everybody kind of laughed. And then we all kind of came up like, that's pretty cool. Kind of invoking this idea of like instead of a chicken coop, a bicycle coop, with a bunch of bicycles lying around.
I love it. And I mean, I guess we don't need to get into it, but how the heck is a bicycle not a form of energy is crazy to me.
We probably all have opinions on that too. I had to bring that up with our legislatures.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Okay, so the Dubuque Bike Coop was born. Do you have any other like little tidbits of history or how it came to be?
So I started off with bike cooperatives in Iowa City, actually with the bike library. And I kind of stumbled upon that at a point in my academic career. I was a grad student, and I had worked at a bunch of different bike shops since my undergraduate days in Melbourne, Florida. And I had been working at Shields and in the bike shop there. And it just kind of came to a point where I couldn't really put in the hours there that they needed. And I needed to focus on my research. But I still needed kind of that outlet for bike repair. And I had heard of this place called the Iowa City Bike Library. And so one day I just finally stopped by, kind of poked my head in the door and like, hey, you guys looking for any help? And they said, come on in. And that was the start of it. And like, I have to give so much credit in so many ways to the bike library, because that place is just amazing. But then I graduated and I moved to Cedar Falls and was working there for an engineering shop, trying to figure out where I was going to land permanently. And while I was there, I met him. It was kind of a magical year in Cedar Falls, and I met a bunch of great people. And in the meantime, I was still often going back to Iowa City every so often to just go help out. And I even took some of my new friends in Cedar Falls with me. And then we were on a trip to Colorado one day. And on that drive, he just kept asking me, what's so special about the bike library? And I just talked about the community, the biking, just, all the wonderful things. And he said, well, why don't we do something like that in Cedar Falls, Waterloo? And long story short, because that's probably another podcast, that was kind of the beginning of the Cedar Valley Bike Collective.
Oh, wow. Okay.
We kind of got that going, and then he moved to Colorado, and then I ended up moving to Dubuque for work. So it was when I got to Dubuque, I still kind of had that need to like, do this community bike project thing. And I happened upon Dave Hardig, who was working at Bicycle World, and the director of the rescue mission. And we sat down and talked and kind of like, this is a really great idea. And in the meantime, I had also I had just moved to Dubuque. I really didn't know anybody. And I went to a green drinks.
Like a mixer?
Mixer.
Yeah.
Up, riding my bike. I had a Iowa City Bike Library t-shirt on. And when the host saw that, he asked, his eyes got as big as tennis balls. And he's like, are you familiar with that place? And I said, yeah. And there was a talk that night. And then after the talk, we were all just sitting around drinking beer. And there were probably a dozen of us after that talk, talking about bike co-ops and what it would take to get one going in Dubuque. And that was really the start. And they invited me to the next Green Drinks to talk about bike cooperatives. So I went, and there was a really good sized audience. And when we, kind of finished the presentation, everyone was just like, let's do this.
Sure.
So
you're
really cool.
You came to Dubuque with the energy, you wanted to do it, but then also you had the experience from several other places that had, inspired you in some way.
Yeah. kind of like a Johnny Appleseed of bike co-ops, I guess.
So next time you move, we can also look forward to a collective or a co-op there.
Yeah, well, I still live in Dubuque, but I work down in the Quad Cities now. I commute back and forth, but I've had a lot of conversations down there that there needs to be a bike cooperative in the Quad Cities.
Mm-hmm.
And I agree.
Yeah. Well, let's go into specifically with Dubuque. Give us an idea of what the program or programs do. Like, who are you serving and what do you offer?
Sure. I'm not hiding anything when I say we're modeled heavily on the bike library, at least the original bike library, or not the original, but when I was there. I mean, it has grown so much since my time there. But we offer a checkout program that has proven very popular to, allow people to try a bike out for 3 months for a deposit, and they get most of the deposit back if they return the bike within 3 months. And we've sent out in we're on 13 years we've been around. Probably around 1,200 bikes that we've put back out into the community, and a vast majority of those do not come back. So hopefully, they're still getting used.
Right.
And and for that, like, we really target anybody in the community can come and do that. In fact, we are starting to get some messages, people wanting to know if we would, rent a bike out for RAGBRAI. Somebody's friend is coming in from Florida and they need a bike. And so that's going to be interesting this year. We also have a lot of bargain bikes available, and, we try to keep everything just as little low cost as possible, so it's low barrier to entry. And our physical location, we're in an area of town that, is kind of, has some lower socioeconomic areas around it. And so we really, we try to be a positive influence in the neighborhood. We want to be doing good things and not destructive things. So, we try to work with a lot of people throughout the community, but we've also started a voucher program where we partner with other organizations like Catholic Charities, and we create vouchers, we get the bikes ready, we let them do the vetting, and then people can come in and get a bike essentially at no cost.
Oh, wow. Okay.
A lot of those people are coming out of the halfway house, and so they're, they may not have a vehicle, they may not have a license, but they need reliable transportation to get to and from work, and we certainly want to support that.
And would you say you have a pretty strong need for that in your community?
I would say yes. There's definitely more need than probably, or I should say the demand is probably higher than our supply at this point.
Sure.
I know, we could talk a lot about volunteers, but hopefully, if we can increase our volunteer base, we'd be able to wrench on more bikes and have more bikes ready to go.
And are you a facility that you are open to the public on certain days?
Yes. Typically, we're open in the kind of the warm weather months, Tuesdays and Thursdays, 6 to 8. We realize those are very limited hours. At this point, we just don't have the volunteer resources to open up anymore. We need at least 2 people to be there, just for liability reasons. But we keep hoping to attract and retain quality volunteers in many different roles. And that's something we're always looking to improve upon.
Sure. So I love the voucher program. That's really, really cool. Do you work mostly with adults, or are you also in the doing things at schools or with kids too?
I would directly. We work mostly with adults. There is a friend of mine works with the city, and he's kind of spearheading our local Safe Routes to Schools initiative. And so we've been working with them and a couple of other organizations to try to help get bikes and safety equipment, like locks, helmets, lights, into the hands of kids that need them as well.
Yeah.
So we're, on a lot of different fronts, we're really trying to encourage people to get out and bike.
Yeah, that's something when I interviewed the Des Moines Street Collective, we kind of talked about how different life is. Like, you and I were kids, biking was so much different than it is now. And so having programs like you have where you're connecting adults who bike with kids who maybe want to bike, that's a big deal. It's not something that's normal for kids like it was for us.
Yeah. And on top of that too, like something we've talked a lot about, but we're still trying to make the right connections is to get a bigger footprint on the local college campuses. Like Dubuque is home to Loras College, the University of Dubuque, Clark College, Emmaus College, and there's not, to my knowledge, there's not a big, bicycling culture on any of those campuses. And we would certainly like to change that. And it seems like when we do make some progress with like a student, usually this has happened a couple times, we make contact with some students. Usually it's maybe part of a project, usually a senior project, and trying to get, some bikes on campus through the library. And by the time we get through all the logistics and legal hurdles, the student usually graduates.
Sure,
and so
yeah.
we kind of have to start over, which is, it is what it is, but we would really love to get that footprint on campus to not only to help create the bike or promote the bike culture to the college students, but also recruit and try to get them in the door of the bike Coop and potentially volunteer.
Yeah.
So that they can also, take their experience with them wherever they go and either get involved in another bike co-op or start their own.
Mm-hmm. Give us an example or two of really cool things that you're proud of when it comes to Dubuque Bike Coop.
Oh, just really, this is kind of a generic answer, but it's the truth. Like just the connections we've made with other organizations within the city and the people. The people that we work with are very grateful for what we offer. And we don't ever want to lose sight of that. Like whatever bike they have, like it's their transportation, it's their, it's theirs. And so we want to honor that and respect that and help, make sure that they keep biking. There was an event that I'm really proud of this event. It was a couple of years ago, actually more than that. It was probably about 4 years ago. And the city, we have a sustainability department within the city, and they had a summer intern, and she reached out to us toward the end of the summer, and kind of one of her projects that she was supposed to do was some community event, and she wanted to do it around biking. So we talked a lot about what the options are, and we finally settled on what we called the Complete Streets Ride. Like Dubuque has a Complete Streets program, and it could probably maybe be rebuffed a little bit here and there. Okay. Got to be a little politically correct here, I guess. But what we did is we started from the bike Coop. Like we invited really anybody that wanted to come, but in particular, we really wanted the mayor there, the city council, city engineering. We wanted a lot of the people that make the decisions and execute on projects to be there. And we rode around Dubuque. I think it was about a 5, like if everyone did the whole thing, I think it was around 4 or 5 miles. We went downtown, we went along the B branch, which is a newer trail, like beautiful, I should say multi-use path. And we also went up the hill, and people or the bluff, I should say, and people had the option. They could ride up, or they could ride and, / walk, as I said before, or they could take the bus. Like the city bus is the Jewel.
Oh.
Each of those has a bike rack on the front. And so we wanted to the whole idea of this complete streets ride was to really showcase the good, the bad, and the ugly of what it's like to try to commute around Dubuque by a bike, and really draw attention to these people within the city to be like, like the B branch is kind of like everyone's like gold standard. Like it's awesome. But there's also some street crossings that maybe could use a little bit more illumination or a little bit more signage or something, controls to make it safer. So that would be kind of like, I don't know, the bad, I guess. But then there's maybe the ugly, like just areas where there's really no good, truly safe way to bike. Or in the case of Dubuque, like Dubuque has some designated routes north and south, like usually in the downtown area below the bluff. But even to this day, there's no east-west routes out of downtown that are official. I mean, there's a lot of routes that people ride, but nothing official. And I feel very strongly that needs to be a priority to ensure just we have a good network of biking.
And what better way to really like put that in all capital letters, but to get city officials or people who maybe only commute by vehicle into an uncomfortable situation where they're on their bike, or maybe they're on that bus thinking, oh my gosh, if I was on a bike, how would I get from point A to point B?
Absolutely. There's, and that's kind of hitting the nail on the head. Like, you don't have to drive everywhere. I mean, we do. I'm driving a car right now, but I'm driving back to Dubuque from Des Moines. But within Dubuque, even with all the hills, even with traffic, you can do it. I know people that do it like consistently all the time, and it's more fun.
Right. Is the Dubuque Bike Coop, is it volunteer powered?
It is. We're all volunteer. Right now we have about 10 core volunteers.
Oh, nice.
We don't have any paid positions, although, if we were to get the budget at some point, we would love to add that, to be, to have that kind of more consistent open hours and things like that. But currently we're just all volunteer. We're funded through, by donation, through our bike checkout program. We do get grants through various sources, and we're very grassroots, and that's exactly where we want to stay.
Yeah. And I assume that you always have more opportunities for volunteers, especially if people are in the Dubuque area.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
People do ask us like, well, what if I don't want to work on bikes? And like, that's great. Like, we have a lot of marketing opportunities. We have, we do a lot of community events, and we're always looking for people to help out with that. There's many ways to get involved. And if people, another thing, like people want to get involved or they would like to learn bike mechanics, well, I always tell people, come and we'll teach you. We'll teach you as we go.
Yeah. Right. So if somebody wants to learn more, maybe they're just curious, or if they're actually in your area, do you have like Facebook page or website that they can go check it out?
Yeah, probably. That's actually probably a good volunteer opportunity, is people to come in and help us with that, because right now we're kind of lacking in that area. But we do have a website, Dubuque Bike Coop altogether.org. It's a little out of date. We're actually working with someone to kind of get that updated currently, just not out there yet, but hopefully will be soon. And probably the most current information is on our Facebook page, which is just facebook.com/Dubuque Bike Coop.
Okay. And yeah, if you go to the website and you see some areas of opportunity, there you go. That's the volunteers that Dubuque Bike Coop are looking for, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Come check us out. Like, just, walk through the door, see what we do,
Yeah.
talk to us. Like, it's all about community for us. So
Right.
we like to grow that and engage.
Right. Okay, last question, and I feel very confident I'm going to know the answer, but what's your opinion on the future of nonprofit bike cooperatives or collectives or even other coops?
Oh, the more the better. I mean, it's just, I feel I've always been a big proponent of downtowns, like kind of a focal point. And I feel for biking communities that the bike co-ops are that focal point.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a great way for people to meet from all different backgrounds and, learn about what all is going on in the community. Go. What better way to learn a community than to go explore it by bike?
Oh, for sure.
And, yeah, like I mentioned before, the Quad Cities, I think there's a definite need for a bike cooperative there. But even smaller towns, there's probably a lot of bikes collecting dust
Mm-hmm.
in people's garages. Why not, fix them up, get them into maybe some fresh hands, or even if it's your bike, like dust it off, get out there, go for a ride.
For sure. And I have not been to the Dubuque Bike Coop yet, but I spent some time in the Iowa City Bike Library. I interviewed them a couple years ago, and you're so right. I mean, it is a great example of community, and it's also, they've built it up that it's just a great place for people to come gather. Like, so if you think about bikes, you want to learn about bikes, or you just want to be around people who like bikes, like the co-ops, the coops, the cooperatives, they're all great places for that.
Yeah. When I was volunteering at the bike library, there was another volunteer, Zarden, really cool guy. And I can't remember what the context was, but he just said at one point, just kind of made this loud exclamation that it's all about the bike. And that became kind of the meme there for a long time. Like, it's all about the bike.
That's awesome. And a great way to end this segment. Rob, I thank you so much for coming on the podcast to talk about, bikes in general, because it is all about the bike, but specifically about the Dubuque Bike Coop.
Well, thank you very much. It's been an honor to be a part of all this.
Yes. And of course, listeners already know this, but if you go to ragbrai.com and click on the actual category called Gives, you can learn more about all of our community bike shops and ways to donate.
Perfect.
All right. Thanks, Rob.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Well, listeners, that is it for today. We want to thank you for tuning in to listen to the Just Go Bike podcast. If you would like to contact Murph and AP with a comment about the podcast, or maybe even you have a topic in mind, you can reach us at justgobikepodcast@gmail.com. Please follow us on Instagram and Facebook, and watch our intros on YouTube. And don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe to this podcast, especially if you're a fan. That is going to do it for this week. Until next time,
Just go bike.
Theme song by Ryan Steer, logo by Suzanne Milosevic, produced by Kathy Murphy, social media by Andrea Parrott, intro by Pumpkin. Until next time, just go bike.